Okay, so let's get ourselves ready for a nice restorative practice. So the most important things here are comfort is always the most important element of a restorative practice. So make sure that there's comfort and warmth. So you might want an additional blanket, you might want to wear socks. So you might want to cover yourself over with something, and darkness. Now, if you can't switch all the lights off in your room, that's all right. Just cover your face. But Andrew, maybe don't cover your face because of your, you're recovering from your eye. So so just so you can just close your eyes, or just maybe turn the lights out a little, just so that you're kind of comfortable. So we'll start off as usual with our basic relaxation pose. So a bolster for underneath your knees. If you haven't got a bolster, remember you can just roll up some a towel or some blankets, or just put some cushions underneath your knees, and then a couple of blocks for your feet. And then I'm just going to have to pull this out from underneath the cat, a folded blanket. So sorry about that, Jeff. There you go. So just bring yourself down onto your back, and then just cover yourself up so that you're warm. Just feel, to start off with, don't be in a rush to just get into your final position. So just feel that you can adjust the equipment. So push the blocks that are underneath your feet, push them away, so it's just supporting the very backs of the bottom of the shin. Just experiment where you put your lift underneath your legs. So if you bring it up to the backs of the thighs, then you kind of really soften in the lumbar. If you bring the roll it down and support underneath your knees and underneath your calf muscles, you get a feeling of elongation. So just get yourself comfortable. Comfort is the kind of main priority with restorative work. Cover your eyes if you can, or don't. If you can't, just close your eyes, and then just rest yourself down on the floor. And then allow yourself to just release into the floor. So I often find that the first time I come into this pose, it almost feels like your body kind of embraces the floor a little. Although you would normally embrace from the front of your body, it's like you just feel the floor beneath you, and you open the front of the body by adjusting the back of the body into the floor. Give yourself permission to relax. Just committing to this next 45-50 minutes or so, where we just spend a little time replenishing our energy. So allow yourself permission to relax. Soften your jaw and your tongue. Soften your throat and release in the inner ear. Just focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate in-breaths and long, slow, deep, deliberate out-breaths. Long, deliberate in-breaths, filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Long, deliberate out-breaths, emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Just allow yourself to release into the floor. Be conscious of how your body is supported by the floor. Feel where your body connects to the floor. Feel where your body is connected and supported by the equipment. Just mentally scanning the body, identifying areas of tension where you're holding tension, and then aim to soften that hold. Draw your attention into the soles of your feet. So by drawing your attention into the soles of the feet, perhaps you observe that the skin of the underside of the feet becomes conscious, maybe even a little tingly. Draw your attention into the soles of your feet and then consciously soften and relax the soles of your feet. Soften and relax the soles of your feet. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet so that you become conscious of the skin and the muscle and the release, and then consciously relax the tops of your feet. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet and then relax tops of the feet. Just letting the tops of the feet reduce their tension. Draw your attention into your shins. Draw your attention into your shins and then soften and relax the shins so that the shin bone sinks into the bed of the calf muscle. Draw your attention into your kneecaps. And allow your kneecaps to sink into the back of the knee. Just letting go of all tension. Draw your attention into your kneecaps and allow the kneecaps to soften in the socket, to draw down into the backs of the knees. Again, letting go completely of any muscular tension. And then relax your kneecaps. Draw your attention into your thighs. Draw your attention into your thighs and allow the fronts of the thighs to sink through to the backs of the thighs. Just letting the legs be totally released and relaxed. Draw your attention into your pelvis. Draw your attention into your pelvis and consciously release tension from around the pelvis, allowing the pelvis to sink into the abdomen region. Draw your attention into your torso. Just observing the inhalation and the exhalation as you go. Draw your attention into your torso and allow the skin and the muscle and the bones around the torso to completely release. Draw your attention into your arms, to your upper arms and your lower arms, and the backs of the palms and the palm skin and the fingertips. And allow your arms to just collapse into the floor, softening the muscles of the arms and the bones of the arms. Just completely released into the floor. Draw your attention into your neck and into your skull. And release around the neck. Release tension around the neck, just relaxing into the floor. And then draw the skin of the head from the crown down into the eyebrow region, down into the ears, down into the back of the neck. Just enjoying the sensation of release into the ground. And you're ready to disturb yourself. Just uncover your eyes if you were covering your eyes. Just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Just bend your knees. Keep your knees on your left, on your bolster or on your left. Have the knees together. Just bring the feet onto the bolster. And then gently roll onto your right side and then sit yourself up. So, a nice way to start, isn't it? Just a nice, gentle way to kind of settle ourselves back onto the ground. So just get your blanket and we'll do a little bit of spine lengthening. So get your blanket and just pull it out into this long, let's call it a quarter fold, and then just lay that flat along the floor. And then fold it along the middle, so along the middle of the blanket, and then fold it down the middle one more time. So you've got this kind of narrow, kind of slightly thick little kind of mini bolster for your back. So if you've got like a hem on your bolster and you've got kind of a bit of a bulky hem on your blanket, have that at your head end. So we're going to stay with the lift underneath the knees, but you don't need the blocks underneath your feet. So just the bolster and our folded blanket. So we're going to bring ourselves, let's move that along a little bit more. We're going to bring ourselves down onto the floor. So you're not sitting right on this You're not sitting right on top of it. It's just about an inch away from your seat bones. And then in a good straight line, just guide yourself down along that folded blanket. Then get hold of the end of the blanket and roll it up so that you create a little pillow for your head. And then just adjust the position of your bolster underneath your knees or your lift underneath your knees so that your knees are, the backs of your knees are underneath the bolster, or the bolster is underneath the backs of your calves. And then if you have to adjust the position of the bolster underneath your knees a little, and then hopefully you find the sensation of length in your spine. If you're not getting length in your spine, then maybe your bolster is too high up underneath the backs of your thighs. So just roll the bolster or the lifts away and then bring the bolster underneath the backs of the knees around the calf muscles. Again, you can cover your eyes unless there's any reason why you're not doing that today. And then just again, rest yourself down into the floor. So as we progress into the practice, I'll speak less and less just to give you the opportunity to release. But just use this opportunity to just release into the floor. If the pose isn't comfortable, there's nothing to be gained from just trying to style it out. Sit yourself up, rearrange yourself so that it does become comfortable, and bearable, and release into the floor. So spine lengthening pose.
Okay, in a moment we're going to bring ourselves out of this pose. So if you're covering your eyes, just release your eyes and wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bend your knees, just bring your feet onto the bolster and then just gently roll yourself off your blanket and then come back up into the seated position. So just get your blanket and just unfold it and then just fold it into kind of more like a pillow kind of shape. So that pose kind of really helps to kind of bring a bit of energy to your spine. So we can do a gentle spinal twist. So you got your bolster close to your hip. So again, you can just, if you haven't got a bolster, just roll up some a blanket or whatever, and then have the bolster close to your hip, and then you're going to lift and turn your chest, and then stretch your body, your upper body along the bolster, and then just rest your head on one side. Now you might need a folded blanket for your head just to give you a bit of extra comfort. So your knees remain bent and you just turn your chest down to face the bolster and then rest your head with your chin in the same direction as your knees. So this is a lovely, gentle spinal twist. Remember, if it's not comfortable, then just adjust a few times until it is comfortable. Give yourself the cushioning underneath your head just to make it comfortable for your neck. Again, let go of any tension, because this practice is all about relaxing. If you find that it's too strong for your back, then layer a couple of extra blankets on top of your bolster so you're up a bit higher. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then push yourself up into a seated position, and then just go over onto your other side so the other hip is close to the bolster but not right on top of it. And then again, lift and open the chest, drawing the front chest down to face the bolster, and then let your arms rest on the floor either side of the bolster. Keep your knees bent. Make sure that your elbows are wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your body with your arms, that your arms are wide enough apart so that you can just rest into the bolster. So this practice isn't a test in stillness. Obviously we find stillness, but we adjust until we've found comfort. So don't feel that you're stuck. Lift yourself and move yourself as you need to. Just consciously release tension in the shoulders by drawing the elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your arms. Okay, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, just push yourself up into a seated position and then just sit with crossed legs for a moment or two. Just feel how your energy has changed. So we can do our restorative surfboard pose. So you might, if you've got something to put underneath, so keep your bolster where it is, but then have something for underneath your shins if you've got it. Don't worry though, if you haven't, you can do this without the shins. Well, no, sorry. Obviously, you do it with the shins. You don't take your shins off. But what I mean is that you can do it without supporting your shins. So you want a block for your head, and then a blanket on top of that block. And then you're going to come down along your front, and there's a little lift underneath your shins. That way, if you haven't got that, and then just guide yourself down along your bolster. So again, you can just use this with cushions, and then you just press your forehead just gently down onto the block. Now your chin needs to be free of the end of whatever it is that's lifting you, your bolster or whatever. So if it's not, then shuffle yourself along a little bit more. It's often more comfortable in the pelvis as well if you shuffle down a little more. So your chin is free of the end of the bolster, and then just rest your arms on the floor. Just elbows higher than your shoulders on the floor, and then just rest your hands down into the floor. So our restorative surfboard pose. So this is nice and gentle in your shoulders and in your neck. Gives you lots of space in your shoulders and in your neck. You just allow yourself to, again, just release into the floor, letting go of physical tension. So this pose just releases around your back, around your lower back, stretched out with the previous pose. Softens around the shoulders. And just brings general quietness to the body and the mind. Okay, when you're ready, just bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then sit yourself just up on your knees for a moment, and then just come into a cross leg position, sitting directly on your bolster or on your lift. Just lift and open the chest, just hold your knees, just breathe evenly and deeply, just allowing the change of gravity on the body to take effect. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdominal region. Be conscious of the energy that you released through this afternoon. Good, positive, healthy flow that comes from the long held, gentle poses. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though with the gentle practice but the long held poses, it brings a little energy into your body for a quiet and relaxed evening. So thank you very much.